Welcome back to another video. Today we are rebuilding the Seattle Mariners. As I'm recording this, they're 25 and 21, and I think they're in like the third inning right now. Against the Orioles, they're losing like 5-1. Um, which leaves them actually first place in their division, the AL West. As you can see, the other teams in it, the Rangers, they after winning, the World Series, they've had a really down year to start. A lot of their top guys are struggling. Um, So yeah, they've been way worse. The Astros, they've been really bad this season. Um, the Angels, they already weren't too good, and then they lost Shohei. So obviously they're not going to be someone that's going to compete for winning this division. And then the Athletics are the Athletics. Honestly, the Athletics actually aren't playing too bad considering kind of what you expect out of them. So but yeah, overall, not a good division. They're still have a positive record, and I think this team is a good team to start with. As I have my Chicago White Sox franchise series that I'll bring back if people want me to play it again. I still have the save file, but like it wasn't really getting too much traction, so I kind of just stopped with it. Um, and I think the series format is a lot harder to really gain traction, as especially a newer channel that I haven't been posting too much. Maybe eventually we'll do another series again if people want it. But yeah, just a single video rebuild type of thing. I thought this was a good team to start with because I think that they definitely need some help, but they definitely, I think, also have a lot of good things that, you know, um, we don't have to have a complete full rebuild. Um, so I thought it was a good team to start with. If you look at their pitching, I mean, a lot of their pitchers have, A potential and they're really young. Um, you know, I think that, we have a really good pitching staff, obviously, even when not just starters, but I mean, if you go to our bullpen, I mean, I have injuries, imported. So, Matt Brash, our best, reliever, is out for 1 to 2 months. But, we still have a relatively good bullpen. Andres Munoz, we have him on contract for 4 years. He's really good, and he's only 25. And, I mean, if you just look at all of our pitching, 26, 26, 25, 24, 24, 25, 24, 28, 25. So we have a really young team. Um, and I think that's a really good thing that, obviously to have, as we don't really have to look to really replace a lot of our pitching in this rebuild. You know, we have, like I said, a lot of pitchers with, decent potential and high potential, and they're young. So pitching's the least of our worries. And, the one thing about this team, which is why they're so bad, is they are one of the highest, and I have to kind of check on it because the last time I checked, they were the highest strikeout team in the league. Now they might be, somewhere in the bottom five. I don't know for sure where at exactly, but they're one of the worst hitting teams, one of the highest strikeout rate teams, and that's, I think, this team's problem is their hitting. Um, we have two pretty good catchers. Cal Raleigh, obviously, I think he's the one that we obviously stick with long term. Mitch Garver, more of like a DH kind of situation for the most part. Um, but yeah, he's one of our best power hitters. You know, this season in real life, I don't think he's batting too high of a batting average. But he hits the ball hard. He hits some home runs. He's one of our best pieces hitting wise. So, and just in general, like out of all of our position players, he's one of our best pieces. But then after that, it's pretty bad aside from J Rod. Ty France, definitely someone we could look to replace. Jorge Polanco, he got traded here. Hasn't really worked out too well since he's got here. Josh Rojas has had actually a pretty good season. And, he could kind of play a lot of positions. So I don't mind having him as kind of like a little depth piece. I don't think, in a full rebuild when we're trying to win the World Series, he's someone that you really want starting in one of your positions as like an everyday player. But to have him on the bench, maybe if I don't really mind. You have Dylan Moore and Luis Urias. Again, just bad hitting. J.P. Crawford, honestly kind of surprised. He has C potential. I think it'd be like a B after last year. He actually was pretty good. Um, and I don't know. I think he still. It was probably one of his best years of his career, if not his best year. I mean, he had his highest OPS of his career. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't. We might look to obviously replace him too, as he gets paid quite a bit of money, and we have him on contract for 3 years. I obviously don't have like a specific time frame, but I want to complete this rebuild hopefully within like 3 years. I think this team could definitely get it together and win in 3 years. You know, Luke Raley, J Rod, and Mitch Haniger kind of make up the outfield. J Rod, 93 overall. Do I think he deserves that right now based off how he's playing? I don't know, maybe a little bit lower. He hasn't started the season too good, but either way, he's 23 years old. He's great. Obviously, the last person we think about replacing. I mean, we have him on contract for so long also, so he's locked up. We have J Rod. Don't have to worry about center field. But obviously, I think other than that, almost every position on this team is replaceable, aside from maybe catcher. Also, we don't have to look to replace. We have a good amount of prospects, especially at shortstop with Cole Young, Ty Pete. We have, and so I think that also with us having also someone like Harry Ford, who depending on how we kind of see this situation playing out, I don't mind possibly moving Harry Ford if it means possibly going out and getting a star player. So yeah, we have some good prospects. We have good pitching. And then obviously, the rest of the team, hopefully we can build. I think obviously the first season, the plan kind of just go to the draft and kind of get through this year. Maybe we'll look at the deadline at someone that's available on the trade block, but probably not going to make too many moves this first season, aside from just the draft and seeing how everything plays out. So yeah, obviously gonna start simming the season. We'll see how it goes. As we enter the draft, we kind of have our three guys kind of set. A lot of pitchers in this draft, and with us already having pitchers, it kind of sucks that the top thing in the draft we don't actually really have too much of. As a lot of these top guys, as you can see, I didn't really scout because I didn't expect any of them to fall to 15. But yeah, obviously, even if we draft, a pitcher, we could always end up using them in, like some type of trade bait. But we end up actually getting, a shortstop here, 5'7" shortstop. He looked honestly really, really good. I know we already have a lot of shortstops, but we can move him around if we have to. I'm going to sim to our next pick, which after this, I kind of obviously will just show the rest of the draft after we're out of it. In terms of people that we want at this pick, I don't know. A lot of the guys we scouted are actually not too good. But obviously, we will see what's available here. As I might go out and actually get this guy. I know he's 22, but I feel like with his potential, obviously being so high already, I think you might as well just take him here. So for anybody who obviously wonders who our, all-stars are for the first year, Logan Gilbert, he currently has a 2.3 ERA. Really, really good so far. Who else we have is Andres Munoz. Honestly kind of surprised. He does have, a 4 ERA with a 1.3 whip. And, I don't know, to me it's a little surprising. But Andres Munoz, and then our last All-Star ends up being J-Rod, who is batting 285, slugging 573 with a 915 OPS. Really, really good season out of him as he already has 20 home runs at the, All-Star break. So just quickly showing obviously who our All-Stars are. So this is kind of what our draft looks like. Um, our first pick I think could be really good. Switch hitter, 18 years old. He's only 5'7", but if y'all you know how the draft goes, there's a lot of 5'7" shortstops for some reason. Um, but yeah, I think pretty good player. If he could develop his hitting, like power hitting a little more, or his fielding, he would actually be really, really good as he's already a 67 overall. Um, you know, we prioritized position players. Dan Crowder, he has pretty good potential. Overall, I think considering the draft, really good draft class for us. I mean, if you look at around the league, not too much of good prospects aside from a few. Alex Toth, he looks pretty good. Mark Ano, he looks pretty good. The guy that I really liked, obviously I didn't even scout him, but I just kind of you can kind of tell when some guys look like they're really good. He got drafted like a top 3 pick. He looked really, really good. Where's he at? Let me find him. But yeah, if you kind of go through the drafts, it's not too good. Some pretty good first round picks. Overall, not that great. So I don't mind. Manny Beltran. This is the guy I'm talking about. Switch hitter, 6'4", 19-year-old left fielder, 72 overall already. And if you look at kind of what he has, he's already a really good fielder, pretty decent hitter already. I really like this guy. But obviously he was like the 4th or 5th pick in the draft. So we obviously were out of reach of getting him. But overall, we add some good prospects to our farm system. Like I said, prioritize position players. We are not good at hitting. We already have our pitchers that we're gonna have in our rotation, kind of locked up. So not too bad of a draft. Merrill Crosby, someone that we look to develop. Adding to our team. We already, as you can see, have a lot of shortstop prospects. So who knows? Maybe someone will be on the move. Maybe someone like a Ty Pete we could end up trading or something like that. Who knows? We'll see. But or we can move them around. I mean, Cole Young can play second base. Ty Pete can play second base. So we'll see. Obviously, as we go along. But you never could have too many prospects. So pretty good draft. As you can see in the top left, we finished the season with a record of 84 and 78. Barely missed the playoffs, obviously, because we still finished with a positive record, but it happens. We didn't have any award winners, but just quickly kind of go through our team. George Kirby, 3.6 ERA, 1.2 WHIP, not too bad, not too good. Obviously, you would hope he could be a little bit better. This, Luis Castillo was a really good season for him. He led the league in innings pitched with 222 innings pitched with a 2.9 ERA, 1.1 WHIP. So really, really good season out of him. I don't know how close he was to winning like Cy Young, but he didn't end up winning it. Then we have, Logan Gilbert, also really, really, really good year out of him as, he has a 2.6 ERA, also probably really close to winning Cy Young. Bryce Miller, 3.7. He had a better year than last year, and honestly, that's really all we could kind of hope for right now is just progress. As we're not looking to compete too good yet. Brian Wu had a not too good year, so I don't know. Someone like Brian Wu, obviously, if he continues to struggle in our starting lineup, he's so far as the only guy that could be maybe replaceable. But other than that, our first 4, I think we have a really good rotation that we're not really looking too much to replace any of them. Kind of our relievers, really, really bad. I mean, if you look at some of their ERAs, 6 almost, 6.6, 10, 4.4, 3. So we're definitely going to be looking to add some bullpen arms, I'm assuming. as we did not have too good of a year with our bullpen. Um, if you're looking at like kind of our starters, someone like a Logan Gilbert, we did extend for 4 years. I think we gave one to Bryce Miller for 2 more extra years. George Kirby. So we kind of locked up a lot of our pitchers. Um, like I was saying, the hitting has not been good. As you can see, 226, 216, 226. Jorge Polanco, 295. Josh Rojas, 282. So 2 pretty decent hitters right there. I do want to see their OPS and slugging. So Jorge Polanco actually pretty good. 819 OPS, 448 slugging. That's pretty good. Josh Rojas, 761 OPS, 402 slugging. It's a pretty decent year, I guess, for them. I mean, like I said, Josh Rojas, we did also end up extending for quite some time, so he could be someone that we have as like, kind of a good bench piece to rotate in and out the lineup later on. Dylan Moore actually had a pretty good year, it looks like. 827 OPS, 477 slugging, batting 285. By far the best year of his career, as you can see. He hasn't really done too much in his other years of his career. J.P. Crawford, another really good year out of him. Kind of sucks, like I said, that he has a C potential, and he's probably not going to go up anymore from his current overall, as he just again had a really really good year and is still the same overall as when we started. Left field, Luke Raley batted 250. J-Rod had a really good year, batted 275 with a 550 slugging, 885 OPS. Couldn't break 30 home runs. Kind of sucks because he had 20 at All-Star break, and he couldn't find a way to, at least get like 12 more to tie his career high. So that kind of sucks. He did miss a few games with injuries, though, so, I mean, I could understand, I guess, in that little sample size of games, he probably could have got to it, maybe. But he also led the league in triples with 12 triples. He had a combined 5 in his first 2 years in the league and had 12 last year, so really, really good. Right field, terrible. I mean, Mitch Haniger was, not good, and, he's also going down overall. So right field definitely looks like our biggest hole. But yeah, so kind of just quickly with showing the season. Obviously going to the offseason. Maybe we'll make some moves. And I kind of also want to see if hopefully, since we did end up missing the playoffs, obviously really low odds, but if we could win the draft lottery, that would be great to add another good prospect. And so we'll see. So with the first season over, as we approach free agency, these are the guys that ended up offering a contract. Juan Soto, obviously, this is by far the biggest signing we would have, as, I don't think many other teams are going to offer $200 million. So hopefully we can get Juan Soto. Right field, by far our worst position. So makes sense a lot for us. And then I offered some relief pitchers, bringing back Stanek back. And then, Lucas Sims and Jeff Hoffman I offered. Like I kind of showed, our bullpen was really bad last year. 5, 6, 10 ERA. And I think we really need to rebuild our bullpen, as they 100% were the reason we lost a lot of games, as 0-4 record, 1-5 record, 5-4 record. I think we need to rebuild the bullpen a little bit. So those are the guys I offered. Obviously, we'll see what happens if they sign, and then maybe we'll pick up a few more guys in free agency. We still have a lot of prospects. We can maybe go trade for a reliever if one of these relievers don't end up signing with us. But I do like the position that we're at right now. So, as you can see, we end up getting the big signing, Juan Soto. Along with that, as you could kind of see with the rest of it, Jeff Hoffman did end up signing with us. He also had not that good of a year. Hopefully, better year for us. We end up getting Lucas Sims. He had a really, really good year last year. So we pick up him, and Stanek comes back. So we have now a really, really good bullpen. We have good starters. Emerson Hancock, you know, he's probably going to play in the minors now because I think, last year we had him for 3 games. But, with so many bullpen arms coming in, we don't really have spots for a lot of our other pitchers as our pitching gets even better. Harry Ford is going to be interesting what we do with him because he is going up pretty high in overall. But our catcher position is pretty good, so it's kind of hard to find a spot for him to kind of fit in. So we might play him in the minors for another year and then see obviously what happens with that. As we could either, I think, maybe have him take over the starting spot. Maybe if he becomes that good, as you could see, Cal Raleigh is going down in overall. Mitch Garver's old; he's going down in overall. So maybe he comes in, takes the spot. Or like I said, I don't know, depending on, maybe if we find a trade and we have to give up some of our prospects for like a superstar, he's definitely one of the guys on our team that is going to have the highest value. So who knows? Ty France, still sticking with him kind of at first base. See how that goes. But yeah, I mean, really same team aside from we just added Juan Soto now. We got, 2 DR outfielders. The DR connection. So, we'll see how obviously everything goes this season. Maybe we make a trade at the deadline for, another good player if we're like close to competing, but we're kind of stuck in trying to edge out if we want to, make the playoffs or we're on the cusp of falling out of the playoffs, stuff like that. We'll see. But that's kind of what we have right now. I don't really expect to sign anyone else in free agency. If we do, obviously, I'll show you guys. But this is, I think, the team we're sticking with for the season. In the 2025 season, as you can see, like I said, we kind of stuck with the same, everything else aside from building a bullpen and getting Juan Soto. So, same starting 5. Obviously, with, some more development as their overalls have went up since they're all, relatively young. Aside from Luis Castillo, next few years he could, go down in overall actually since he's 32. But aside from that, like I said, relatively same team. We're having Harry Ford stay in the minors right now, as we'll see what happens kind of with him. Relatively, like I said, same team. 2 of our other top prospects, Cole Young and Merrill Crosby, they'll both be in AAA. See how that goes with them. And then, yeah, we got Juan Soto. So, relatively, like I said, same situation. We'll see, obviously, how it goes with this team. As this year, we do maybe look to add someone at, like, the deadline if there is someone available. And then, obviously, see what happens kind of with our other prospects. As we do actually have, let's go take a look. If we look at the top prospects, we have the number 15 prospect, the guy we just drafted, Merrill Crosby. We have the number 21 prospect in Harry Ford, number 31 in Cole Young. And then that might be all of our top 100 prospects. Or no, and then the other guy we drafted, Dan Crowder, he is the number 3, or 93. Number 93, top prospect. So, we have a good amount of top prospects, as we will obviously see how that kind of, goes with them. And we still have, someone like Ty Pete, who I think is, considering we have such a good position at shortstop, someone that we may look to trade, as, we don't want to really waste his talent. If we go out try to make a trade for a star player, he could be one of the guys we end up getting rid of. So yeah, we'll see. Obviously going to sim and see what happens. As we enter the draft in the second year, we have a really good record, which obviously you can't see right now, but yeah, like we have a really good record right now, and we might at the deadline look to make a trade at the deadline, look at the trade block maybe, and see if there's anyone available. As you know, again, we're still prioritizing position players. All the guys we had on our board just end up going, so that definitely sucks. Um, as you know, a lot of these pitchers I did not scout a single bit of, um, but one of them looks pretty decent. You know, you can still add some what's it called, some pitchers to the prospect pool, and we'll see obviously how that ends up going. The next guy I want to add is this center fielder. You always move him around position wise, but I think he looks pretty good. And then the rest of the draft, obviously, I'll show you once we get to signing our draft picks. So as the deadline approaches, as you can see, we currently are 68 and 40, and I think with how our team is playing, we had Andres Munoz be an all-star, George Kirby, Juan Soto. Julio Rodriguez didn't because he was injured, but I think he definitely could have. But with how our team's playing, I think definitely we could look to add at the deadline. As you can see, left field has been really bad. And on the block, there is Jazz Chisholm, who's on the last year of his deal. The Marlins, I'm assuming, are not too good. I mean, in real life, they are not. So it would make sense that they go out and trade him. So I don't mind actually trying to get him. And it would probably take, someone like one of our better prospects in Tyler Locklear. Giving up someone like a Ty Pete, I wouldn't mind. And then if we could maybe give them someone like a, Sam Haggerty, I don't really mind giving up maybe. Or we could even give them, they don't want to do if we do that. But yeah, they would do it for Sam Haggerty. So we go get the deal done. And we now get a complete outfield as we get, Jazz Chisholm, who obviously we're going to move over to, left field. As he could play really every position for us. But right now we're going to have him as just, outfield as his secondary position. And now if you look at our outfield, we have a complete outfield. Josh Chisholm has been struggling this year, which makes even more sense why they want to trade him. But, our left field hasn't been good either. So I don't really mind trading for him. Obviously, with him coming up, we do have to call someone down. So I will figure that out. But yeah, so that's kind of our big move. I think we don't do anything else at the deadline as, I think Jazz Chisholm alone is good enough for us. And, yeah, obviously see what type of push we do. Hopefully, we already have a really, really good record. Probably even the best record in the whole league. Tied for the best record with the Dodgers. So hopefully the addition of, someone like a Juan Soto and a Jazz Chisholm could put us over the hump. And we will see. We finished signing all of our draft picks. And as you can see, pretty decent potentials. Problem is, a lot of them are really low overalls. So, with that being said, assuming everything goes the way it goes, none of these prospects you probably will see obviously play in this video because, they're going to take a while to develop and I expect us to win relatively soon. But it's still always good to add, high prospect potential players. And yeah, the whole draft class in general wasn't too good, aside from obviously the upper end of the draft, which we had, pick number 15. The guy that I mainly wanted, Roger Grant, he does look really good as he is, it's the 5'7" guys, man, 5'7" switch hitter, third baseman, 21 years old. And he's 68 overall. He definitely looks like he could be someone that comes up way earlier, which is a lot more so the guys that I'm looking to add to the team in a one video rebuild like this. None of these guys good potential and all, but maybe future assets to trade. B potential, B potential, B potential, and another B potential. So we had some good prospects, but that's how it's kind of going. As you can see, going to sim the rest of the season, kind of see what happens. And yeah, We ended up getting to September call-ups, and we have a record of 85 and 52. We are the best team in the league. And so yeah, just kind of quickly to show what we're doing at the September call-ups. We called up Emerson Hancock, mainly just to be in like a reliever role. Maybe if like someone gets injured, then he'll come in and start a game. We called up Harry Ford. His potential went down to a B, and it was probably because he was in the minors for so long. And so we called him up, and then we moved Mitch Garver over to first base. So that's kind of the move that we have. And then we also, well, that's actually it for call-ups. But then also, Merrill Crosby has been developing really, really well. So, not this year, but next year, unless we win the championship, then obviously we'll be done this year with the video. But if not, next year, Merrill Crosby definitely, I think we could definitely have in the MLB next year. As, I would like to maybe move him over to second base with, Cole Young already being here and he's the worst defender. I think it would just be better off at second base. Um, and also we don't really have any prospects at second base, so it kind of spreads out, our prospect pool. So he might even be better at second base. I think it just makes more sense. So we're gonna move him over to second base, as he's the same overall, and obviously we'll see what happens. But next year I think he definitely comes to the MLB. But that's all we have for now, as we are going to obviously send to the postseason and see what happens. We are now in the postseason. We finished with a record of 162. So we broke 100 wins, and just to kind of maybe check around, in terms of team rankings for batting average, we were at number 11. I would like to see if we were good in any other areas. Tied 11th for hits. For doubles, tied 11th. So it seems like we're around the same. Tied 6th for triples. For home runs, tied 11th. Tied 11th for runs batted in. Tied 8th for stolen bases. I would like to see our pitching. We are actually tied first for strikeouts. Now, actually, I don't know if this is that's probably batter strikeouts. But yeah, in terms of ERA, we are the number one team in ERA, which is really good, as number one in hits allowed, number one in runs allowed. So yeah, our pitching is really, really good, as you could see. Kind of to go over some of their years. George Kirby, 3.2 ERA. Luis Castillo, 4.2, down year. Logan Gilbert, 3.4, and his potential also went down to B, which I didn't see. Bryce Miller, pretty good year. Brian Wu, 4.5 ERA, definitely is like a replaceable for a fifth starter, but, I also don't mind it too much. Jeff Hoffman, really, really good year. Good free agent signing. Was really good for us, 2.2 ERA. Matt Brash was not good again. Gregory Santos, way to come back after, last year it was really, really bad. This year he had 86 games pitched, and he was really, really good for us. Lucas Sims, down year. After a 10 ERA, he bounces back with a 2.6 ERA. And then, a 2.9. So our bullpen was really, really good. The hitting obviously got better, especially with additions of, Jazz Chisholm, who after he came to our team, his batting average did go up. Still not good, batting 230, but, Juan Soto comes to the team. He hits 44 home runs, bats 304, an OPS of over 1,000, slugging of 595. So he was great. Julio Rodriguez was also really good. And now we, because we're the one seed, we did get, out of the wild card, and we are now playing Cleveland in the ALDS. So obviously we could hopefully see how that goes. As game 1 we end up winning, game 2 we end up winning, and then game 3 we end up winning. So we sweep them, and now we're at the ALCS. We might be able to actually get it done this year. I thought it would take longer, but apparently when we have this good of pitching and we get Juan Soto, just off that alone, it boosts our team a lot. So we end up killing Houston, and then we win game 2, we win game 3, we lose game 4, lose game 5, but we finish them in 6. So if you look at some of these games, though, we let up 1 run, let up 1 run, let up 2, let up 0, and then we kind of started to struggle, and that's when we start to lose games. So we're really built off, our pitching being really, really good. So yeah, it's, really, really good for our team as long as our pitching is good. And now we are in the World Series, so hopefully, maybe we could actually get it done. The year 1 of the rebuild. I'm not too sure if it will happen, but either way, we're playing the Reds. Kind of want to see the Reds team before we actually play them. As they have a starting rotation that I think obviously we have the best pitching in the league. We're just the better pitching team, so we have them on that. They have a really good closer though in Tanner Scott that they signed in the offseason. He has a 1.5 ERA so far in the playoffs. Finished the actual season with a 2.1. They got Danny Jansen. They signed Paul Goldschmidt. And then they have what looks like relatively the same team. They got Jarren Duran. So yeah, they're relatively the same team. I actually am honestly surprised how they are here. So I think we're the better team, and I think we could actually win this year. We lose game 1, we lose game 2, we win game 3, we win game 4, we lose game 5, and then we lose game 6. So we lose in 6. It's tough, but we still somehow got the playoff MVP with losing the World Series in Juan Soto. As in the playoffs, he had 63 at-bats, batting .397 with 8 home runs. So yeah, definitely was really good for us. As we went to the World Series. So now next year, hopefully, is our year. We made it to the World Series. Next year, we build on that, hopefully. Maybe we add another piece in the offseason, As a team that just made the World Series, there's probably a lot of players that are looking to get on a competing team in the offseason, and we could be a team that goes out and sign them. And hopefully next year we could actually win the World Series instead of losing in 6. And they were hitting the ball well. Like I said, our team's built based off of our pitching. 5 runs, 11 runs, 11 runs, 5 runs. We can't be allowing that many runs if we want to end up winning. So in the playoffs, Brian Wu and Luis Castillo were really, really bad in the playoffs for us. As it is what it is. Obviously, we'll see. And Brian Wu, obviously, probably will still be here. But if we have a replaceable option to get for him, then we will end up obviously replacing him. But, I can't really complain too much with our rotation in general, as we do have the best rotation in baseball. But yeah, so we'll see what we add in free agency and what moves we make to, hopefully put us over the edge. And next year we end up winning. First day of free agency, the first thing that we go out and do is I go out to offer Vlad Guerrero a contract. As, right now, 3 years, $60 million. I don't mind giving him a deal like that. As he looks to be paid more this free agency class. Obviously, not many teams have too much money to really pay him. As a 3-year deal gives him the flexibility to then look for more money in the future after the contract's over. I would not mind getting Mitch Garver back. So we gave him a 1-year deal, or offered him a 1-year deal. Jorge Polanco, also would not mind bringing back. Same with Dylan Moore. So really, so far, only thing we really went out and tried to do is get Vlad Guerrero as, starters. I think we're good. Obviously, maybe we'll see if there's something that we could do with Brian Wu. If anything, I think it would be a trade rather than a signing. Um, First base we do need right now without everyone currently gone. Second base, we will be adding Merrill Crosby to the 40-man, as I think this year he definitely is going to get the call up and he will be playing with the MLB team. And obviously, regardless of if we get Jorge Polanco back or not, I think he'll be playing. Try to get another third baseman here. Hopefully Dylan Moore comes back, and then we don't have to worry about this position really. Maybe we look for an improvement at third base over Luis Urias as like our starter. J.P. Crawford right now at shortstop, I don't really mind keeping. He's been pretty good. And then our outfield's obviously set, I think, with Jazz, Julio, and Juan Soto. So hopefully we can get the big signing in Vlad Guerrero, and then honestly, we'll see what happens. We probably won't be doing much else. Maybe going out and trying to find someone to replace Brian Wu in a trade, or upgrading, a position like third base maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But obviously, we got to see what happens with, free agency and see who signs. Got the big signing in Vlad Guerrero. So, we add another really good Dominican player in free agency just like we did the year before. As he is also from Canada, so Canadian and Dominican Republic. But with that, I think we really put ourselves in the true spot of being the best team in the league. As adding Vlad Guerrero adds more power to our lineup. At first base, we're good. Second base, I don't really mind having just Jorge Polanco and Merrill Crosby kind of have that spot. The only thing maybe we do is at third base, or if we want someone at shortstop. But our outfield looks amazing, so we're good at the outfield. Like I said, starters are really good. Aside from maybe we decide if we want to trade for someone at the deadline, but I think if anything else we would do would be at the deadline. And this team we're gonna stick with. This duo at catcher is also, I think, fine. And we have a few prospects, that we could definitely move if we think that we're that good, and that one more, trade or player we could go out and get would put us over the hump. Someone like a Ryan Bliss, who he's 26 years old. Right now, I don't really see the point in keeping him if we find someone kind of wasting his talent. But yeah, obviously, I don't think we're going to make any other moves. But we got Vlad Guerrero. Our team looks really, really good. So we're going to end up seeing what happens next season. So now we kind of have simmed the season, and we're in the draft. Not that the draft at this point really matters too much, I don't think. I think we're relatively close to the point where none of these players will probably be playing for us. But just for anyone who still cares about seeing the draft picks and all that type of stuff, obviously still gonna be doing the draft, showing y'all our first pick, and probably just our first pick in this one. And then other than that, I'll just sim the rest, or not sim it, but you won't see it. As the top player for us, we are going to be able to get Arlen McLeod. The rest, obviously, you will, see once we get to the prospect signings. But I'm obviously going to then now go over the overall just season for us. And yeah, for anyone who cares about, obviously, our All-Stars, we had Logan Gilbert make All-Star. We had Andres Munoz end up making All-Star. We also had Vlad Guerrero. We had J-Rod and Juan Soto. So, a lot of our players ended up making it. We currently have a record of 62-37. The only team better than us record-wise is currently the Diamondbacks, and the Phillies have the same record as us. So, really, really good. And as we approach the deadline, obviously we will be looking a little bit, not too much, as our team is really, really good. Pitching, Luis Castillo's having not that good of a year. Brian Wu still 4 ERA. So our pitching, it seems like, has kind of dropped off a little bit, and maybe we go out and try to trade for someone, who knows, to maybe replace Brian Wu, considering he has kind of always had a 4 ERA and a high whip also. And he was honestly a big part of why we ended up not winning last year. Our bullpen has been really, really good. For some reason, he got called down to the minors out of nowhere. So I guess he wasn't playing in the MLB this year. Well, that's interesting. As I guess I didn't notice that. Harry Ford's been struggling. Cal Riley's been struggling. But, Vlad Guerrero's been really good. Our rookie has been actually really good too. I wouldn't say really, really good, but batting 260, 412 slugging, 761 OPS, not that bad for a rookie. Jorge Polanco, in the limited at-bats he has seen, has been also really good. So maybe we actually give him some more at-bats. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to see our rookie play more, considering that, he has the higher potential and upside to go up in overall and be a bigger piece of his team. J.P. Crawford down year. Cole Young's been good in the minors. We might actually call him up. And I'm going to quickly call him down, which he's on waivers, which kind of sucks. But, I had to get one of our relievers in. J-Rod's been pretty good. Jazz Chisholm is having a better year than last year for sure. And then Juan Soto's also been amazing. So our team's really, really good. And then, like I said, as we get to the deadline, we're going to be looking maybe a little bit more to upgrade some few spots. Try to help out this team a little bit more to put us over the edge. Oneil Cruz having a really good season. He's on the last year of his deal. Maybe we, for whatever reason, go out and get him. And basically, if so, we would have like the full Dominican team. Oneil Cruz, Dominican. We have J-Rod already, Juan Soto. And then we also have Vlad Guerrero, who he signed in free agency this year. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll see, obviously, what's going to happen. And try to, maybe get some last few pieces to help complete this team. So, at trade deadline, to try to bolster our bullpen a little bit, as, Lucas Sims, who for some reason was not in the MLB, came up, and he's been really, really bad. He has an 11 ERA. And just to kind of bolster the bullpen, James Karinchak I saw on the trade block. He's having a really good year. He's on the last year of his deal, on a 1-year deal. So we give him some prospects to get some pitching. And, I think that's the only move we're going to do. It would be nice to get someone like Oneil Cruz, but I feel like we don't really have a lot of the assets. We do have the assets to give up, stuff for Oneil Cruz. But I think that our team's good enough with the team we have. And, we would have to give up someone like a Cole Young, who I think long-term, I wouldn't mind just having Cole Young be, the shortstop of this team. Not that I think it will matter, because I think we could win before, obviously, Cole Young even really plays in MLB. Other than maybe he might come up at September call-ups. But, yeah, I think that's the only move we're going to do. And I think the team's good with what we are right now. So, for anyone who still cares about our draft picks, not that it really matters, we kind of have a bust in that pick. But aside from that, really good draft. All relatively low overalls. But they have good potential. This draft class, not that it really matters about the other teams, so I haven't really looked at the other draft class or the rest of the draft class because I don't think it really matters for us. It doesn't look too good just for me scrolling through pretty quick. Carmen Rosado looks pretty decent. JJ Horman looks pretty decent. But yeah, y'all probably don't really care too much anyways, as we probably won't be seeing any of these prospects in this video, considering our rebuild's, I think, basically almost over. I would hope we could win soon. So, yeah, but if you did care, these are kind of the prospects we got. So, a lot of high potential players we end up getting. We are now at September call-ups. We currently have a record of 89 and 49. We are the best record in the whole league. So, really, really good. September call-ups, what I ended up calling up is Emerson Hancock. Kind of just work into the bullpen. He still has good potential, relatively pretty good. Work in some innings through the bullpen, and then hopefully not someone gets injured. But if someone gets injured, he can come in, pitch for some of our pitchers. Our pitchers are not having too crazy of years. I mean, they're all really good. I mean, these are good ERAs, but um, he could just get some innings in. And then the other guy I ended up calling up was shortstop Cole Young. Was really good in the minors for us this year. One of our better prospects. Get some innings, some at bats. And yeah, I mean Merrill Crosby, our other rookie, I have been playing in the league. He hasn't been playing too good. Jorge Polanco has been really good in the few at bats he has had. So he might take over as the like second baseman that we play way more often, with Merrill Crosby struggling. But overall, that was just what showed what we were doing for September call-ups. And our team's really good, so hopefully we have enough to get it done. Season is over, and we ended up with a record of 101 and 61. And really good year out of a lot of our players. George Kirby kind of a down year. Brian Woo's basically been the same for us every year. Bullpen was really good. Our catching could have been better with their bat. Our rookie Merrill Crosby was pretty good. Cole Young in the few games he had when he got called up was not too good. Josh Chisholm did end up having a career year, so that was really good for us. J-Rod's been basically the same for us every season. Maybe the best year of his career. Also, most home runs, highest batting average, highest slugging, highest OPS. So he probably had his best year too, but not too much better. Juan Soto was also really good, but he's been relatively the same every year. But I mean, I don't know what more you really want him to do. He's playing amazing. But yeah, that's quickly just how the team has been. And now we are at the postseason, the ALDS, and we are playing Cleveland. Apparently we don't have a full 40, but we end up winning game 1 and game 2. Can we close them out in 3? They take game 4, or game 3. I mean, we take game 4. We end up winning, and now we're playing the Minnesota Twins. So let's go see what their roster looks like. So as you can see, we're looking at the team of the Minnesota Twins. They have a pretty decent rotation. A lot of them actually, I think, had pretty good years for them. Pablo Lopez, 3.6 ERA. Joe Ryan, 3.0. Matt Manning, 3.0. So they had some pretty good pitching. Decent bullpen. They got a closer in Edwin Diaz. But the rest of their team does look relatively similar to their team in real life. So, I don't know. I think we're the better team. Hopefully, we're able to get it done. So, game 1, we win in a high-scoring game. Game 2, we end up winning. We win game 3. They win game 4. And we win game 5. So we end up closing out in 5 to go to the World Series. We are playing the New York Mets in the World Series. They got Corbin Burnes. But other than that, I mean, if you look at this rotation, I mean, they have so many pitchers in the MLB here. But they have, I think it's a way worse rotation. They don't even have a closer for real. They have Vinny Pasquantino, Francisco Alvarez, Jeff McNeil, Brett Beatty, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, Drew Gilbert, Lane Thomas. So, I mean, they added Lane Thomas, they added Vinny Pasquantino, Corbin Burnes, but I still think we are a way better team, and hopefully we're able to beat them. We apparently have to bench Julio Rodriguez for an injury. We take game 1. They take game 2. Julio's back. We win game 3. We win game 4. And we win game 5. And the Mariners win the World Series as we take it in 5 games. As Vlad Guerrero, free agent signing, ends up winning World Series MVP. And Jorge Polanco ends up winning playoff MVP. So really good games out of them. K-Rod was not too good in the playoffs, but a lot of our players stepped up in the playoffs, and we ended up finishing the rebuild. Brian Wu, he's been really bad for us as a fifth starter. Still ended up getting it done. So, yeah. First rebuild we ended up doing. Obviously look to do more on MLB The Show, not just, 2K and stuff like that. So yeah, obviously we'll see how everything goes in the future with, rebuilding some more teams. But yeah, so we ended up finishing the rebuild. I am also getting an actual microphone. It's on the way, so don't worry, the audio will be better. Trying to just have better production overall. But aside from that, first rebuild done. Seattle Mariners. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.